Guys, I'm gonna try to contain my excitement a little bit because honestly, I just watched the Direct. I don't know if you can see, but I haven't been awake for very long. I haven't even shaved yet. But we just got a ton of new details on what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to actually look like, some of the hardware specs, how that game chat's going to work, what some of the new games are gonna look like. Guys, there is a lot to go over here. By the way, you guys, my name is Kyle, but you can call me Nearby Senpai. If you like the vibe, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like to show a little bit of support to a small creator like me. Anyway, let's get right into the thick of it, you guys. They dropped right away some of the new hardware specs for stuff we're going to be seeing, and I really can't understand how they're going to be packaging all of this into this tiny little device, but we are quite literally getting 120 frames per second in handheld mode. In handheld mode, you guys. Mario Kart World, and it is called Mario Kart World for a good reason, because it is quite literally the Mario Kart game that I imagined as a kid, where you get to freaking get in your cart and free roam and go wherever you want and hang out with your friends. And guys, I'm not gonna do justice articulating just how good this game looks, but I cannot believe the fact that we are getting a Mario Kart game that is this cool looking right out the gate. I'll be totally honest with you guys, Mario Kart 8 on the Nintendo Switch was played out in my opinion. It's been around for over a decade now. It debuted on the Wii U, and me personally, I'm sitting there looking at the history of the Mario Kart franchise, and I'm going, okay, are we gonna get weird again and do like double dash type stuff? Or like, what are we gonna do? Because personally, I have Mario Kart 8 already. It is, in my opinion, the ultimate Mario Kart game. What are they gonna do different? Wow. They're gonna give us free roam and hanging out with your boys, just going wherever you want, finding races, doing cool stuff, and I feel like that is going to be a heavily leaned into game for the Nintendo Switch online service, where they will be able to implement new upgrades to this overworld map throughout the span of the entire Nintendo Switch 2 lifespan. We also got an honest answer as to how they're going to be implementing the game software upgrades for the Nintendo Switch 1 games that are going to run better on the Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't seem like you're going to be able to plug and play any of these games to run smoothly, more smoothly on this new console, which makes sense from just like a technological standpoint. You will have the option to either buy a new physical copy of these games, and the games they showed off were Zelda Breath of the Wild, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I say those first two because those are the most important. Mario Party Jamboree, also randomly Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I'm super excited about because I thought that game was amazing, but it just kind of felt like an interesting game to put in there as opposed to something like Super Mario Odyssey. That's just my opinion. Now, we have no idea what these upgrades are going to cost, but I'd imagine they'll be like $5 to $10. That being said, Switch 2 games, Switch 2 physical games, outright buying a Switch 2 game is going to be more expensive. Mario Kart World costs $80. Yeah, I'm just let that sink in real quick, okay? It's totally fine. Like, take a deep breath, $80. I just want to say thank you so much, Mr. President, for all these wonderful tariffs that have made consumer goods so much more affordable for everybody. But what about game chat? Yeah, we got some inclination as to what that little C button is on the controller, which we all knew. It was going to be talking about game chat in games, right? But we didn't know that Nintendo was going to pull a Nintendo and somehow make it feel like we were playing couch co-op back in the 90s when we're just chilling on our couch. Because right after they showed that off, they also showed off the Nintendo Switch camera, which is basically a little device you're gonna stick by your TV, and whenever you're playing an online game with somebody, a little image of your face is going to be there, which is gonna be kind of weird and awkward for some people, but it's gonna be super dope for someone like me that wants to play Super Mario Brothers with my actual brother that lives in the United Kingdom now, because I'm gonna have a chance to actually connect and spend time with him in a way that I wouldn't otherwise. That little feature alone is just such a little Nintendo gimmick that seems so small and minuscule, but it is so essential to making this couch co-op feeling come back in modern times when we're all just like stuck on our couches. I gotta drink some water. I'm getting dehydrated with all this Nintendo excitement. I actually wrote out a script here and I've been completely ignoring it thus far. The next thing we saw in the Direct was kind of obscure, but it was a very Nintendo thing to do, where they showed us basketball wheelchair guys. It looks like it could be fun. I'm sure it's going to utilize a lot of the new features of the console. It's a little strange that they hyped it up that much, but that is a very Nintendo thing for them to do. and I am excited to see what that game actually turns out to be. We then transitioned from basketball wheelchair guys directly into the craziest third-party support that we could have possibly imagined, because they led that opening with, hey guys, want to play Elden Ring? Check this out. From there, they basically showed off a ton of other games. They got a little slideshow going. I would do myself a disservice to my voice to read off every single game that I saw in the Direct. But basically, guys, I feel like as third-party developers are concerned, like, they're not going to sleep on the debut of this console. They're not going to sleep on the lifespan of this console. So any game that's going to be released on other devices, any game that has been released in the last decade, is most definitely going to get a Switch 2 port if it is at all possible. Because I think a lot of these guys have looked around at each other and gone, holy crap. The install base for the Nintendo Switch 1, the amount of sales on the Nintendo Switch 1 are unprecedented in history until you go all the way back to like the PS2 era. So there is no freaking way that you're ever going to have to choose between, oh, do I want the PlayStation version? Or everything's going to be on Nintendo Switch 2. And they're going to be implementing some cool little Nintendo features with a lot of these games. Because as we saw in something like the Hogwarts Legacy ports, you can cast spells with like the mouse function, which by the way is a new thing. You can literally have your Joy-Con on the desk and use it like a mouse. And in this case, cast Harry Potter spells with it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big sucker for Nintendo gimmicks like that. My favorite version of Skyrim is literally the Nintendo Switch version, in spite of the fact that it runs better on other consoles, because I can cast spells with my hands. And I'm a big child, I like to do those things. Along with the remakes and upgrades, we also saw that Pokemon and Metroid Prime are going to be releasing on both consoles simultaneously. Now, this sounds like, okay, no, obviously, right? But, Pokemon looks like absolute dog crap in the trailers thus far on Nintendo Switch 1. So I am super excited to see what we're going to get on this new device, and if they're going to show off in the trailers coming up any footage from the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Pokemon Legends ZA. Because that's my biggest gripe with Pokemon Legends, is the fact that I want to love you, but you look terrible. You look like you were made on a GameCube, and I need more than that. So we will have to see if they actually follow through and deliver on what I think a Pokemon game should look like in modern times. I think they're going to do a pretty rad job there. And then with Metroid Prime specifically, we saw two different ways to play the game, which is 4K output at 60 frames per second, crazy, on a Nintendo device. Or you could play in 1080p at 120 frames per second, like you're playing Doom on a Series X. That is, dude, this is the amount of tech goodness packed into this freaking Game Boy I'm so excited. Now, after they showed off all the third-party support, we also saw that they're going to, quite literally, be making a new James Bond game. A new James Bond game. So I don't know if you guys grew up in the 90s like I did, but if you did, then you remember that some of your fondest memories in all of gaming are James Bond 007 on the Nintendo 64. And if we get anything close to that energy, and now that we've seen how we're going to be doing game chat with these little screens, if we get anything close to that energy on this Nintendo device, this is going to change and shake the entire freaking world. We're going to be putting freaking GameCube on the console. Day one, GameCube on the console. Now, if you guys had asked me before 2017 what my favorite console was, I would have told you the GameCube. It is, in my opinion, the best console of that generation and has a ton of gems. Day one, we're going to have that on the Switch 2, on the online service with games like Wind Waker, and they also showed off randomly Soul Calibur 2, which I love a lot because it's the only Soul Calibur game you can play as Link in. I'm super stoked, guys, that the amount of potential for dope games to be revisited by newer generations with that is absolutely bonkers. Now, as if that wasn't enough goodness, we also got the first look at a brand new freaking Zelda game, and if you know me, this is a big deal. Age of Imprisonment. It's a Hyrule Warriors spin-off, so it's like more of a hack and slash, run around, fight a bunch of enemies type deal. It still looks super cool. Alongside that, we got, after the Direct, we got an announcement for 4 new amiibos. And if you're like me and you collect a lot of amiibos, that's a big deal, because it means right away that we're going to be seeing new amiibo releases for other games as well. But also, dude, just like right there, Zelda amiibos. Zelda amiibos, bro. it's a good day. It's a good day for me, man. Also got two incredible first-party drops that I think that we all have been praying for a very long time. The first being Kirby's Air Riders. Now, getting back to the conversation with the GameCube being one of the best consoles of all time, one of the coolest games on that freaking console was Kirby's Air Ride. Kirby's Air Ride was an absolute masterpiece. It was a super short game, but I cannot tell you how many nights I stayed up at my buddy's house in freaking middle school just playing the crap out of that game. And we're getting a full sequel designed by the legend himself, Sakurai. Then, just as I thought my brain could not release any more dopamine, we got one of the coolest announcements of this entire direct, which is a spiritual successor to Donkey Kong 64. It's going to be called Donkey Kong Bonanza, and it is a full 3D modern take on the Donkey Kong franchise. It looks a lot like Mario Odyssey. We didn't get like any details on the game, but we got a ton of footage and it looks super dope. I am super stoked to see what that game looks like. Modern Donkey Kong game. Everybody's been waiting for it. We're gonna get it in year one of this console's life. Yo. As for the pricing of the console, it's going to be $450 Nintendo coins to buy this console, which is like kind of a little bit more than a lot of people were anticipating. $400 probably would have been the ballpark range if not for the fact that all these tariffs are in place currently. That's a whole nother subject. $450 Mario coins for the Nintendo Switch 2, or you can buy the Nintendo Switch 2 console with Mario Kart World bundled in, apparently for $500, which is shaving off $30 from the $80 Mario Kart World retail price. Still crazy to think about. The only unfortunate thing about that is that the bundle has a digital version of the game that comes with it. So as a physical game collector, I'm going to still buy the more expensive version. I'm going to be buying the console and the game separately and spend another $30. I feel like they know what they're doing. I think that it's a great way for them to push more people to buy digital games because ultimately that's what they want, to save on manufacturing. And it's a great way to make money off people like me that are collectors with disposable income. So like, I get it, Nintendo, do your thing, whatever. I'm not happy about it, but I mean, that's cool for some people. Now guys, there has been a ton of information thrown at me, which is then being regurgitated at you. And I hope that most of it was like easy to understand. Again, I just woke up. I'm super excited, so my ability to articulate properly is probably not that great. But the Nintendo Switch 1, in my opinion, is the best console of all time. It's my favorite console of all time. So this moment in history to me is just absolutely incredible. My expectations were blown out of the water. I am super excited to see what they do with this device, not only just Nintendo, but other developers, third parties as well. I feel like I got everything that I wanted out of this direct. We're getting confirmation on how they're handling upgrades, which actually looks pretty chill. After the direct, we also saw that if you are a Nintendo Switch Online member, those upgrades for games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those are gonna be free. So for like people that don't want to subscribe, $10 upgrades for Switch 1 games. For people that, like me, are paying for the online service anyway, all of your Switch 1 games are now just going to be super boosted. Incredible. We're getting amazing new games right out the gate. Mario Kart, coolest Mario Kart game ever made. Hands down, this is going to be the best Mario Kart ever. And it's like the game that I imagined when I was a kid. I just feel like all these pieces are coming together in the most beautiful way possible. And I cannot wait to get my hands on this hardware. But guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of this direct or what you guys are thinking about this new console. Let me know what game you're most excited for. Let me know how you feel about the game chat implementation, or if you think you would use that, or if you're maybe one of those people that doesn't want to be seen when you're gaming. Like, hearing someone's voice is a lot, but also, bro, like, if I'm eating Cheetos and there's dust all over my chin, maybe I don't want a camera on me. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on GameCube? Like, do you remember the GameCube? Like, all of these things, you guys, whatever may have resonated with you the most, make sure to drop a comment, tell me how you feel. And as always, guys, keep it nerdy. Thank you, Nintendo, for the most amazing direct ever, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Senpai out.